for the helpless. Hoping you get us through breakfast. Wishing somebody come save us. Black lightning's back, come to shock the haters.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portrais, and I'm joined by a man who I've heard has heard a threat from Black Lightning many a time, Sean Keenan.
Oh, hello, everyone. Hello, Incel member. Hello, Commodore. And shout out to Heidi.
And, of course, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear with a flair for electrifying people or something. I don't have anything good for Black Lightning.
You are
right
the
now.
most electrifying man in podcasting. If I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it 1,000 times. It's all true. Bruce
Pew,
Leslie.
pew, pew. Everybody watch out. There's comedy coming through.
It's big time here, everybody. That is right, everyone. We are reviewing Season 1 of Black Lightning today. Couple of episodes back, we did many an episode back, I guess, at this point. We did the first 5 episodes of Black Lightning, and we decided, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and review the entire season, which, for those of you that may not know, is available on Netflix right now. So if you want to get to binging, you most certainly can, like many out there do, and that's certainly how I finished this season out myself. But we'd like to thank you. Big numbers for the Avengers episode. We'd like to thank all of you guys for downloading, telling your friends and whatnot, and hopefully they'll tell more friends and that sort of stuff. And I've now
Did
done
we
so
make it?
on, and so on.
Did we make it to 3 figures?
Oh yeah.
Did we get triple digits?
for sure.
Good, man. We broke the old 99 threshold we struggled with.
We broke way more than that. We broke quadruple digits there. But we did quite.
Oh, very good.
We did. The show did quite well. And here's the thing. It is all because of you, and it's all because of you going out there, spreading the word, telling your friends, and all that kind of good stuff. And I've just gotten comfortable enough with people at work to tell them that I do this. And I go, hey, you might want to listen to this because you clearly dig movies and superheroes and stuff like that. And that's what we do around here. You know who else digs it, man? The people that help us out over at patreon.com/HMP. And we have a slew of new people. Longtime listener. He's been on the Facebook page and a lot of comments, a lot of things like that. Active in the community, as we say. Kevin Jones has joined up in the $5 club. Kevin, thanks for joining in. Keenan, would you like to give us
Does he get a nickname, Sean?
Of course he gets a nickname. Let's give him Will Billy. He's Will Billy.
I love it.
Will Billy it is. Keep that one up. Next one is that joined that $5 club is one Jeremy Hobbs. Jeremy, thanks for joining up. What's Jeremy's nickname?
Jeremy Hobbs. He's man, I am on the spot.
He should just be Calvin.
First of all, how many more are there?
Just one.
Okay, good. Let's give him Gumballs.
Gumballs. Jeremy Hobbs, you have now been beseeched for the name of Gumballs.
Let me do the next nickname. I never get to do nicknames.
Yeah, do a nickname.
And
go ahead, give us the guy.
All right, and number one, coming in here with the highest new pledge donation at $20. That's the executive producer level, everybody. Is Peter Pernice or Pernice?
I'm going to call him Kid Not So Bad Looking.
Hey,
love it.
Not too shabby. But Peter did read your email and everything. He said, I don't really need to read it on air or anything, but he's a long-time listener and finally got around to doing this. And we appreciate him and everyone else that goes over to patreon.com/HMP and helps in getting this thing off the ground. And do want to give a shout-out to not only him, but the other executive producers at that level. You got good old Matthew Schnapp coming in here, long-time supporter, as well as Alex. You got Peter, Tim, Robert Barney, RocketFace, and, of course, Maria from upstate New York. Thank you to all the executive producers and everybody else that's in there. If you would like to help this show out, it's just value for value, man. If you get some love out of this show, go ahead and just jump over to patreon.com/HMP. You get pre-show, post-show. You get to vote on movies that we watch from time to time. And, of course, anytime that people that are over on Patreon say, hey, maybe you ought to do this, we kind of listen to those folks because they help keep the pirate ship afloat over here. So if you can do that, man, at any level, patreon.com/HMP. And if you can't, we completely understand. All I ask is that you go out, tell a friend, review us on iTunes. Any of those things help keep this show going, man. And we'd like to thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Hey, you know how you just said the thing with the you keep the pirate ship afloat?
Yes.
Let's make that something that is just uniquely ours.
Oh, well, listen, I already stole it, so.
So from this point forward, it's something like, hey, you keep us astronauts in tang.
Oh,
yeah, I love it. I love it.
Done and done. All right, because now for those of you now that are on the Patreon, you know what that's a reference to. And how do you find out what that is? Patreon.com/HMP. Keenan, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it a million times. You're a genius, my friend, and that's why we keep you around.
Oh, charmed, I'm sure.
So like we said, we reviewed the first 5 episodes of Black Lightning a couple weeks back and everything, and we wanted to go, you know what, let's give the whole thing a big darn try. What do you say? So let's go ahead and listen to the trailer yet again for Black Lightning.
Black Lightning was the savior who kept our streets and our schools safe. He was hope personified. But he was also Jefferson Pierce, my father.
Take me to the edge of what can break me.
You've been on the streets fighting the 100 for years. Let someone else do it. Girls need a father.
Baby, I promise.
Free
No
me
more.
from the clutches of my heart that will forsake me.
You two are all me and your mother have. I love you both.
He tried to keep his promise to my mother. Said that he saved more lives as the principal of Garfield High than he ever did as Black Lightning. But without Black Lightning, violence in the streets by the 100 gang multiplied.
Our children are dying in these streets and no one cares.
The anger was just under the surface for all of us. The whole city was ready to explode. He could only bury who he really was for so long.
The city is getting more and more dangerous every moment. I'm just trying to keep you safe.
Excuse me? I'm not afraid of the 100.
Yes, you should be.
Alrighty, and that was from the trailer for Black Lightning. We are going to be reviewing episodes 6 through 13, I believe there is, if that memory is served. Now, we've done it before for Black Lightning, but which is always fun to see how he reacts and where we go for the next one. So you know what time it is, everybody.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Watch the man do his work.
Was chock full of nuts like an old-timey coffee brand?
Yeah.
That's weird because there aren't nuts in coffee, unless maybe chicory. Maybe it was chicory. Well, anyway, instead of being chock full of nuts, this show is chock full of comic characters that you didn't know were there. What do you think about that, guys? Are you surprised?
No.
Well,
I am.
Inspector William Henderson, the Friedland police chief that we talked about being so laid back before. Well, Inspector William Henderson is a supporting character in Superman comics, but he first appeared on the old Superman radio drama. And what a long way he has come to be the slow-talking police chief of Friedland. That guy that don't get in too much of a hurry to do anything. He went from being the big blue Boy Scouts primary police contact to the coolest cat on the police force in Black Lightning. Of course, he's still not as cool of a cat as Reggie Cathy on The Excellent Outcast, but c'est la vie, as the French Canadians always say.
Thank you, my brother.
Now,
R.I.P.
Tattooed Man is the secret identity of multiple villains in the DC universe. Typically, Tattooed Man is a Green Lantern enemy, and having Tattooed Man show up on this show intensifies speculation that Lynn Stewart is indeed Jon Stewart's sister. Now, the first tattooed man, Abel Tarrant, debuted in Green Lantern number 23 all the way back in September of 1963. And Abel Tarrant was a sailor who was based out of Coast City, and he turned to a life of burglary when sailing the seven seas just didn't turn up as many pirate chests as he thought it would. Now, during one of his heists, he was exposed to some mysterious chemicals, which left him with the mental ability to create actual objects from said chemicals. When he got back from the robbery, he tattooed himself up real good using those very chemicals, so he would always have the chemicals near him. The second tattooed man was John Oakes, the main character of the Vertigo series Skin Graft, The Adventures of a Tattooed Man by Jerry Prosser and Warren Pleece. How many times do you think people razzed Warren Pleece about how similar his name is to War and Peace? I bet it was nonstop. Anyway.
About a Danish Tolstoy.
Well, John Oakes was a cellmate of Abel Tarrant, and John Oakes learned the art of tattooing with a supernatural edge from his fellow prisoner. After being released from jail, Oakes learned that his strange tattoos were a curse as well as a blessing, as his tattoos now opened arcane doors and could involuntarily trap people as tattoos on his own body. Mark Richards was a former U.S. Marine who went missing after a helicopter crash. He was presumed dead until he showed up in Gotham City as a hitman. He claimed that the tattoos covering his body were to represent the sins of the men he had killed, and that by the art of sin grafting, which is what he learned from the nation of Medora, he took the sins of other people and put them on himself. He claimed to be redeeming the men and women he killed. Now, Cyanide. Cyanide is another character that shows up on the show. And Cyanide is the name of at least 3 different villains in the DC Comics. But the one in the show most closely resembles the second Cyanide, an unnamed female assassin. Now, when the Phantom Lady was protecting a defecting Russian scientist in Casablanca, Cyanide was hired by a crime cartel to kill Phantom Lady. She received help from Merlin in targeting Phantom Lady, only for them to be defeated by the Flash and arrested by Yuri of the Estonian secret police. And if there's one thing Sean knows well, it's that you don't mess with the Estonian secret police. Now, Cyanide later helps Tobias Well kidnap somebody, and the Outsiders, featuring Black Lightning, of course, thwart them because thwarting is what heroes do best. Now, Lady Eve is a fictional supervillainess created by Mike Barr and Alan Davis, and she made her first appearance in Batman and the Outsiders number 24 back in 1985. Little is known about Lady Eve's past, but she first met the terrorist cult leader Cobra in Egypt, where she nursed him back to health. In gratitude, Cobra offered Eve the chance to join him in exchange for a better life of crime. She accepted and eventually became Cobra's lover as well as a high-ranking member of the Cobra cult. She and Cobra hatched a plot to brainwash top officials of the U.S. Army and steal a satellite defense program with which they were going to blackmail the U.S. government, but Batman and the Outsiders, once again, eventually stopped them. Now, Grace Choi. Grace Choi is the bartender who becomes Anissa's girlfriend in this show. And she has a whole lot more going on in the comics than she does in this show. In the comics, Grace Choi also has super strength, though initially she doesn't know why. She joined the second generation of the Outsiders, recruited by Roy Harper, and she forms a romantic relationship with fellow member Thunder, also known as Black Lightning's daughter. Now, Grace's history was explored in detail in the Outsiders' Most Wanted story arc, in which it was revealed that she was one of the surviving victims of a prostitution ring that exploited abducted and runaway children as its merchandise. Upon reaching puberty, Grace used her then nascent metahuman powers to escape and spent the next several years living independently until she was recruited into the Outsiders. Though initially the source of Grace's powers was not revealed, when the team was captured by the Brain and Monsieur Mala, not to be confused with the Brain and Pinky, a much more famous team, but this was in the Outsiders number 39, they noted that Grace had been enhanced more than her kind usually is. The Outsiders were confused by that remark, leading Monsieur Mala to laugh and comment, "You mean they don't know what you are?" Later on, it turned out that Grace was an Amazon, That's right. Her Amazonian lineage was revealed. It turns out that she's like Wonder Woman's cousin or something. I'm not sure. I didn't really follow all the details. But despite the fact that you may not notice all the comic book references in this show, Black Lightning, they're there. They're just maybe not as flashy as in some other programs. Did you see what I did there? That was kind of a pun
Flashy.
on Flash.
Oh my God. That Bruce Leslie, he keeps you in stitches, boy. And by the way, before we start...
I don't get it.
Before we start anything else, can I get a little bit of props here for actually knowing Tolstoy? Can I, like, the man who doesn't read a book knows the author of War and Peace?
A round of
Come on
applause
now.
here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
One
All
of
right,
the most
keep it
famous
going.
books
Keep
of
it
all
going.
time.
Who wrote Dr. Zhivago? Keep it going.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Exactly. 2 for 2.
Killing it.
He
What
used
can
a
I
pen
say?
name, Boris Pasternak.
Hey, listen, I thought that we agreed no swearing on this show.
We just got an E-tag in Russia.
Well, there you go. I don't think they listen. I see all the countries that download us. I think Russia is one of the very smallest of the people. Step it up, Russia. I hear you won an election over here for somehow. I don't know. How about you download us some podcasts or something? I don't know.
Man, I couldn't remember where we left off. I couldn't remember where we left off on part 1 of our review, so I've got notes going back probably further than I need. But I'm ready to start talking about what we think of the second half of this 13-episode season.
Well, let's talk about this here real quick, because I was jogging my memory trying to figure this out.
First of all, before we go any further, let's talk about like if you're new to this show.
Oh yes,
the spoilers are all over the place, so tread lightly.
Yeah, we got a lot. I'm sure we'll have a lot of new listeners and stuff coming off the Avengers week and everything. Again, spoilers from here on out. Now, let's review. What did you guys? I couldn't remember what you guys thought of the first 5 episodes. I think I was the most positive.
I think I might have been the most positive.
Really?
I think I was definitely more positive about the first 5 than I probably am the last 8.
Okay.
I know that I was fair to middling with it. I didn't think it was that great. It makes the hallmark sin, in my opinion, of that it is embarrassing at times to watch the show. I mean, it's just embarrassing at times.
Well, I can say for me, like, this whole series was a roller coaster, and I'm going to talk about it in broad swaths here. The first 5 I think I liked. Then it took a dip, and like the next 5 or 6 I did not care about, and then it ended on a higher note because it got away. I think the show kind of shines for me is the superhero stuff is almost kind of secondary, and when they use the superhero stuff to kind of solve real life problems, if you will, it's a little bit more palatable, I guess.
Yeah.
But if they lean too far into just the plain old superhero stuff, I think, like Sean said, it gets a little cheesy, a little embarrassing that, if someone came in and you're like, what are you watching? It's a cool show. It's cool. Oh boy. How do I explain this?
Did you guys warm up to the Black Lightning costume any as the show went on?
No, it's worse. It gets worse.
Well, we go far. So we find out that is by the time of episode 5 there that his daughter, who, by the way, I'll say this because the show really did a poor job of it in the first 5 episodes, was really establishing who everybody was. They really threw you in, and you had to kind of guess who everyone was and what their relationship was. And I didn't like that. I feel like through the subsequent episodes, I was like, "Oh, that's right. This is like both of these
Black
girls
Lightning's
are her
the guy shooting electricity out of his
I
hands.
got that much, smart guy.
Okay,
but like his,
that's Black Lightning.
That's Black. I've been going about it all wrong.
And Peter Gamby is James Remar's character.
Yes, but so to me, it was just like, oh, okay. Well, she's his daughter. I was like, which is the lady at the? Was she the lady at the school? No, she wasn't at the school. I couldn't keep up. There's too many.
I get why there's confusion because Lindsay sat down and watched an episode with me, which was about the most embarrassing hour of my life. But she, when Thunder gets her costume,
like the first time or the second time,
the Gamby,
gotcha.
the second one, the big Gamby costume. and she comes walking down the street with her new costume on, and Black Lightning's looking at her. She says to me, Lindsay turns to me, she goes, "Are you sure that they're father and daughter? Because he's looking at her way differently than you look at your kids."
Oh, man.
And I was like, well, you got a good point there.
Yeah.
You've got a very good point there, lady. And so it's kind of confusing because it feels like people aren't doing their homework, like actors aren't doing their homework on the show of like, so where are you? What are you doing right now? What is your character arc here?
What's the relationship to the characters that are around you?
Exactly. Looking at the actress who's playing your daughter lustfully, probably a bad choice.
It's like we all go, yes, she's an attractive lady, but that's not how you look at your daughter, homie.
I got to tell you, the low point of the show for me was there was one point where Thunder was talking to her younger sister, who is going to become Lightning, who will absolutely give us no confusion when we have Black Lightning and Lightning on the same show. But anyway, she's talking to her sister, and she says, "I never wanted to be a superhero. I was happy being a full-time teacher and medical student." Have we once seen her in medical school? Like,
No.
I think we're supposed to understand that she's not only a teacher full-time in the school where her dad is a principal, which may be against the rules in some school districts, but aside from that, we're also supposed to believe that she wants to be a doctor, like she wants to be a teacher like her father and a doctor like her mother, so she's doing both.
See, that's why I was
superheroing on the side.
That's why I was confused, because I was just like, because the daughters, their ages are definitely far apart, far enough apart, right?
They're like, they're probably at least 6 years apart.
Yeah, so one's going to high school, one is already and I'm like, because I saw her and I'm like, are you going to the same school? But aren't you like way too old to go to this school? What's going on? Like, because it's not defined well. They did a really crummy job with laying stuff out and they really should have done that within the first probably 2 episodes. Is really lay out, set the table for us. Let us know where everything is at and how everything's gonna work for us.
And then like Lynn's.
Sorry, go ahead first.
Lynn Stewart, the mother, we see her like working in an emergency room, but then we also see her in like a science lab. So I don't know, is she a doctor or is she like a neuroscientist? Like those are very different things. But once again, she gets to be both.
A lot of Jamaican heritage on this show.
I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a janitor.
I'm waiting for the softball game where Lightning, the younger daughter, is both the pitcher and the catcher. Like you see her on the mound winding up and throwing it, then she catches it and lifts up the mask and goes, "Good job," and sticks up a thumb. Then you see her on the mound giving herself another thumbs up. Just confused me altogether.
Lightning on second, Lightning on third.
To get to very specifically the episode that you're talking about, Bruce, I don't remember what it's like 7, maybe episode 7. I don't even remember.
I'll go with 7.
That episode is by far the worst episode on the show, and it's not even close. It's such a slog. They're in the house the entire time. The daughters are all whiny the entire time. I don't want superpowers. Look, I wish that they would treat me just as a superhero instead of as a sex object. Like all of this, like just like by the book crap. Like it's all and it's this thing with Berlanti, or with any Berlanti show that drives me crazy, which is that there's enough in the show to recommend it, but there's also far more things about the show that makes me insane. Like like the with the Flash, it's the fact that they're always getting coffee. Everyone's always got coffee all the time.
We paid for that set. We're going to use it, doggone it.
Well, you got whatever it's called, JJ Jitters or whatever it's called. Whatever.
CC Jitters.
CC Jitters. Sorry, CC Jitters.
Get it right, Sean. My gosh.
I'm an idiot. So and on this show, every time we see the younger daughter is in bed. She is lying on her bed 90% of this show.
So she's pulling a Bruce Willis, you say?
I knew the Bruce Willis reference was just waiting to come out of Adam.
Heck yeah, it was, boy, because it's deserved.
She is constantly moping on her bed.
I like the idea that Bruce Willis is watching this, Adam, and he's going, "Man, I've been sitting in all those movies when I could have been lying down."
He's just going,
"Look at this lady's agent.
What a sweet gig. God, I got to get that new agent."
Do you think that maybe he's going to be standing a lot in this Unbreakable sequel?
No way. I'm telling you, Listen, everybody, for the last 5 years, go back and watch Bruce Willis movies. He is sitting more often than he is standing in every movie. And I talked to somebody about that today, and he was like, he's getting older and stuff. I'm like, Sylvester Stallone has just pumped his body full of HGHs doing God only knows what, and Bruce Willis can't be bothered to stand up during a dialogue scene.
Forget Sylvester Stallone. Even Professor X manages to stand up more, and he's how old is Patrick Stewart?
98.
Yeah. And he has a legit reason to be sitting in his movies, and he still manages to stand up.
Yeah.
Joe Louis was 127 years old when he fought Rocky Balboa.
So now I love to reference The Room lately. I don't know why, but famously, the lady says she has breast cancer, and then it just never goes anywhere.
Nothing
it's like
happens.
She just drops it, and then that's the end of it.
And I love how when she says that she has breast cancer, her daughter's basic thing is more blow it off than anything else. It's not like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. She's just like, anyway, back to me.
Well, there's a moment like this where Peter Gamby reveals that his real name is Peter Esposito, and then it's like, so what? That is a detail that added nothing to the show at all. They never went anywhere. Like, Peter Esposito means nothing unless he's the estranged brother of Phil Esposito. Then we have a storyline.
Hello, Phil Esposito. Deep hockey cut by Bruce Leslie. I never, ever thought that I would hear that on this show. Good job by you, Leslie.
Miracle on Ice. Anyway. So that's this weird thing. Like, he has to reveal my real name isn't Peter Gamby. My real name is Peter Esposito, which means nothing to me. I don't know if it means anything to you guys. And it's not like there was some subplot where Black Lightning's been looking for this man named Esposito or something. I mean, it's just the weirdest thing to just throw in there and then drop it. And but everyone, please continue to call me Gamby for the rest of the show and pretend like we never had this conversation. Was that weird to anybody else?
Well, you know what it's like to me? It's like the opposite of Mad Men. That first season of Mad Men when Peter knows that Don Draper isn't his real name, and there's this huge buildup toward it. Like, it's just like this massive, massive buildup, and finally Peter spills the beans to the other partners on the show, and the partners are like, "Hey, why don't you mind your own business, kid? Get out of here." Done. It's kind of like that.
I got 2 words for you: Armin Tamzarian.
Armin Tamzarian, yeah. But that's just the weird thing, man. Like, I somebody honestly had to write that down, and it probably got reviewed by someone before it made the final version of the script. Isn't that how that works? I don't know.
In his defense, he did dress up like the Shadow for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's just the weirdest thing. Like, that he admitted that Gamby wasn't his real name, but then he still goes by Gamby. The real name he offers has no comic book connection, no in-show connection, and it never gets mentioned again. Then in season 7, we meet the Esposito crime family.
I was gonna say, if this show continues on, someone is gonna pick up that thread somewhere.
It's kind of like in Pitch Perfect when Fat Amy reveals that her name isn't really Amy.
Yeah, it had all the weight that show did. That one was not the best.
I love the movies, but that revelation meant nothing.
No, it didn't. It was meaningless, much like that third movie was meaningless.
I love the action scenes.
Can I make a confession?
That's
to
a
you
lie.
guys?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I have never seen a single second of those movies. But I never want to.
Oh, you're missing out, man. They are so good.
Yeah, the first one.
But I'm not a musical guy.
Me neither, but they're so good.
Oh, okay.
Especially the fight scenes in the third one, man. They have a hallway
shut
fight.
up. It's terrible. Those are awful.
It's awesome. It was way better than some of the fight scenes in The Punisher.
Well, fair enough.
Definitely better than Iron Fist.
But, okay, what did we think? Like, now, I will say this. There were a couple of, like, neat moments that I felt like they could have used more of like, with when she had to they had to basically, Black Lightning is in jail, but they don't know it's Black Lightning. They just, kind of framed the principle, as it were.
Oh, when they make him get naked and bend over and cough and
that
stuff.
really wasn't what I was going.
Humanized.
That wasn't the thumbs up moment I was talking about, Bruce. More what I was talking of is when his daughter and Gamby kind of give a little hologram there to kind of fool the people into thinking Black Lightning is still out and about when he's in jail, because they figure, hey, if we get this guy, we've got him dead to rights. But no, look, Black Lightning's still out there. Can't possibly be him. It was kind of fun. At least it was something going on, You're
right. You're right. That was a neat moment. But to me, the coolest part about this show, about this second half, and there's not much to recommend it, but this is one of the things. One of the things we kept talking about with the first 5 episodes was how much we liked that one character. And they killed off that one character in the first or second episode. And we were like, man, we're really going to miss that guy.
Lala.
Lala. And then Lala shows back up, and it's great. Every time Lala's on screen, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think I liked it when he came back too, but I feel like I was so confused about his return that it made it more difficult for me to appreciate him than if he had just stuck around, because there was no explanation about his return. And then when they finally do explain it, Tobias just says, I spent $1 million on the reanimation program. Like that's just a thing you can do.
And the thing is it's so vague as to, he basically more or less just wakes up in a hotel room, right? Doesn't really
with a tattoo of a lady he killed on him. And, I'm familiar with the tattooed man from comics, but this is kind of a very different take on the tattooed man.
Oh, for sure. Although this is the best version of the tattooed man we're ever going to get.
Yeah. I do like him talking to the dead people, and everybody thinks, Lala's kind of going nuts over here.
That's very cool. I like all of that. I think that the fact that there is even more menace to that character than when we first see him. That part's cool. There's so little things to pick up and be like, oh man, that's nice with this, especially with the second half of this show. And let me ask you this question, right? So with Lala, do you think that it was already written in that Lala was coming back, or
no way in heck? No way in heck that was written in.
Yeah, I think
that was on the fly.
I think they realized all of a sudden they were just like, oh, we've made a horrible... Russia's came back, they started looking at stuff. We made a horrible mistake here. We've got to figure out some way to write this ship, because he was one of the most interesting characters. And they were like, nope, gone. What the... Oh, jeez. But thank goodness we live in a world of comic books where deaths don't always matter.
And they did have a little problem early on with Turtles All the Way Down, is what I call it, because we think Lala's the villain. Then we find out Tobias is behind him. Then we find out Lady Eve is behind Tobias. Then we find out the ASA is behind Lady Eve. Then it turns out Tobias is actually trying to take out the ASA. I do like it when we finally get all the way down to who I'll call the true villain of this season, and it's this Martin Proctor guy who was basically behind the program, or wanting to renew the program to give black kids vaccines that would turn them into weaponized mutants, more or less.
I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, and was at least a little something to recommend as far as the story goes.
Do you think the metaphors were a little heavy-handed in the show by chance? I mean, at one point, Martin Proctor actually says directly, "I want to make America great again."
Yeah, that was a little bit too much on the nose. Or it's just like, okay, pal, gee whiz. It did feel like a little too hammered home. It's just like, I'm all for symbolism in stories and everything like that, but when you deliver it straight down the plate like that, everybody just goes, I know what you're doing. There's no subtlety to it.
There's a lot of Law and Order happening on this show too. For the first season, where when you see a guest actor come into the show, and they're way too big to be playing a small part, you're like, well, that guy's the big bad guy.
Well, I remember. Well, I don't want to get too far off on a Law and Order tangent here, but I'll just say that I've seen the movie Primary Colors, and it was more subtle than the "Make America Great" comment in this show was.
Primary Colors reference. Boy, Bruce is really deep on all these things today.
Hey, I'm a big Travolta fan.
What can I say? I do agree, Bill Clinton. No, you don't, Travolta. No, you don't.
Don't get on the plane. Don't get on the plane with Travolta.
Oh no.
That's the last one out there, everyone. That's the last one out there, and that shoe's gonna drop pretty soon too.
Something's gonna happen.
Oh no.
Don't get on the plane with Travolta. That's all I'll say.
Oh my goodness. Man, so when the little sister starts getting her electrical powers, and she's kind of freaking out about it, like Thunder kind of embraced it. And by the way, I do want to say that I think Thunder's pretty cool. I love her thunder stomp, her thunder clap, whatever you want to call it. Like, she utilizes her powers in really cool ways, though I will say I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like it when you can't exactly explain what her power is.
Yeah,
you know, in
I
the
was about to
comics,
say,
it's pretty clear.
That's what I'm looking at
not
here
so
when I
much
do.
here.
I'm like, okay, so she can clap and do some other things. It's like, I don't know. I want to like it, but I'm not overly impressed by it. I'm like, I get what you do, but
The Thunder Stomp is pretty cool, but if you, it's like Scarlet Witch in the Avengers movie. If somebody said, "What is Scarlet Witch's powers in the movie?" It's kind of hard to explain, isn't it?
Yeah, you just say
it's
the
the
word
same
magic.
way with Thunder here. Somebody says, "What's Thunder's power?" Well, she can do a Thunder Stomp, and then sometimes bullets bounce off of her, but sometimes she has to jump out of the way, and she's kind of strong, and she's also kind of heavy. I don't know.
Yeah, she's got
I
a
know what it is
weird,
in the
defined
comics.
set of powers for sure.
Okay, so there's two problems here with exactly what you're talking about, on top of the power set being unexplainable. One is that the first problem is we've got a Superman in the 50s and 60s sort of a thing where I will just give him another power.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's not just with Thunder. They do that with Black Lightning also, where I'll use my electrical sight to see them.
We'll tweak the suit a little bit, and now you can do this.
Every power that Black Lightning's been shown to have, though, is kind of consistent with something in the comic books that he's done. That's not the case with Thunder. They're just giving her plot powers, plot-based powers, like pulling off the giant cellophane S and throwing it at the bad guy.
Oh man, so good. The second thing is that this is very Berlanti-ish, and I realize that the source material has Black Lightning's kids also having superpowers, but the Berlantiism of every single person you know also has superpowers is in every single show. It's on all of his shows, and it makes me nuts. And I get that it's just an easy out and it's easier to write it that way. That's why they did it when they did it in the source material. But it is not. We're not writing stuff for little kids anymore. You know, like, we're writing stuff for like 40-year-old guys to watch to watch these shows. That's who is watching these shows, unless it's, you know, like the random kid that comes into the room. But it makes me go right out. Like, I not that I was super involved into Black Lightning in the first place, but the second that someone else, yet another person, has superpowers that's in Black Lightning's life, I'm like, come on, man, this is like Green Arrow.
Yeah, but you're kind of right. I don't see anybody under the age of 18 even, you know, remotely caring about the majority of things that happen in this, because it's too wordy and heady for them to kind of, it's not enough action, not enough, you know, kind of cool stuff going on. Whereas like in The Flash, at least there's enough stuff going on to where if you're younger, you don't really care about the drama or the other sort of stuff that's going on. And this show doesn't have that.
But there is an aspect to this show that we're not thinking about, which is that if you are a young African-American kid and this show is on TV every week, you're watching this show.
Maybe, but
if you're a nerdy kid.
But if you're bored of it, how much will you watch?
I don't think it's any more boring than other shows that kids watch, man. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah.
Riverdale, people watch Riverdale. You know, this is not any worse than Riverdale at all.
That's fair.
I want to say on the record, Bruce made us watch those 2 episodes.
And my daughter's excited for the she currently still watches. So I know that kids watch stuff much more boring than Black Lightning.
Yeah, and so did we. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
the Flash 90s TV show.
He's over here like, give me some credit, man. Awesome.
We watched awful TV shows also when we were kids. I mean, you know,
Not
Voltron.
me. I only watch the Misfits of Science and Manimal, Turbo Teen, Automan, good stuff.
Automan's perfect. There's a perfect example. Street Hawk. There's another
love
perfect example for you. Yeah, those were great shows when we were kids.
T.J. Hooker.
Another great one. The Fall Guy. They're all the same show over and over and over and over and over again. But it didn't matter because we were kids and we were stupid.
And we had 3 channels.
That's right.
This
4
has
if
been
you count PBS, but nobody counts
This
PBS.
has been the senior citizen moment with Bruce and Sean.
Well, look, Adam. I mean, everybody loved Voltron growing up. Voltron was the exact same thing every single week.
No, you're not wrong.
Or, I'm sorry, every single day. So we got trouble on this planet. Let's bring Voltron out. They bring Voltron out, and they try to stop the fight with the 5 lions. That doesn't cut it. So then they form Voltron. Voltron gets his butt kicked for a good 5 minutes, and then they remember that they can make Blazing Sword. They make the Blazing Sword, cut the thing in half. Show's over.
It's like
every single episode.
Every show could be 5 minutes long.
Masters of the Universe was appointment television for me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing.
But Khalil gets his ability to walk back, and I kind of like it in some weird way that they just decide it gives him dreadlocks. Like they decided to say that a really weird side effect of curing his paralysis was hair growth. So he went from having like a high and tight haircut to having
This is
locks.
where I threw my hands up with this series. First,
I would have loved it though. They should have. They didn't go far enough with it. He should have had a Rip Van Winkle beard too. Like that would have won me over. Like you throw your hands up and he has the long braids, but if he had also had like a big Rip Van Winkle beard to go with it, like was that Ice Pirates where that happened?
I don't remember.
It seems like they get accelerated aging in Ice Pirates and they get the big hair and beard.
And she, like, first of all, it's like so many things. And like, and I don't know, maybe you guys can speak to this having kids. When you see these giant things, do kids just not take the time to appreciate anything? It's like all of a sudden your friend who is paralyzed can now walk. And he grows a full head of hair essentially overnight. And like you take no more than 15 seconds to marvel over these 2 giant, things. One obviously way more bigger than the other. Hair growing, by the way. But it doesn't make any sense. These kids, they're just like, oh, whatever. I guess he can walk now. Oh, and you got some hair. Anywho, I'm going to prom or whatever the heck's going on.
Did you catch on to the full abilities that Khalil has? Like I had to read the episode description to understand exactly what was going on with him. Like, did you understand the whole point of those darts?
No idea.
Apparently, a side effect of the procedure is that he now produces venom. So he actually puts his own venom into those darts when he shoots them. That's something I totally did not get from the show. I only got by reading like a synopsis of the episode.
See, again, it's more of the show needs to do some splaining on many a part that comes through.
You're never supposed to make this recommendation, but for once, I'm going to say, tell me, don't show me about the venom production. Tell, don't show. I'm going to open up a whole writing school called Tell, Don't Show.
Is he? How's he extracting that venom?
Through his sweat glands. No, it comes through the tips of his new hair, his bionic hair. Why not give him like Medusa hair? If you're
just
gonna have
milk
the hair
him
grow?
out of the hair. Is that what you're saying?
I think the hair should work like tentacles when he's in a fight.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, look, man, we're just giving him blop for season 2.
It would be a lot more interesting. Oh, by the way, if you're not nicer to me, I'm going to Black Lightning. That guy.
Yeah.
I looked it up. He is on IMDb under this show.
Now I've got a question, guys.
Yeah.
Did they get a little bit ahead of themselves? Because aren't you supposed to wait till season 2 before the hero loses his powers, then gets it back?
At least season 2. And the
But
Berlanti
that happened in the final episode of season 1.
They're pushing it up there real fast. Berlanti's like, we got to get this on the fast track here. What do we do? Loser power. Good. Done.
Well, I think that actor is probably like, man, please don't make me run everywhere, you guys, anymore. I'm 45 years old. I don't want to be running
He's
everywhere.
like, I'm a very
Let's
tall
just take
dude.
a moment. Let's take a moment, though, to say just how awesome Cress Williams is as a guy. Like, he looks like the kind of guy who would be wonderful to have on your set. His smile seems genuine. I love it that they actually got an older guy playing an older guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he really is the centerpiece that, like, without him, this show would not work at all.
Yeah, completely agree with you guys. I think he's great.
But having said that, when his daughter gives him the hug that electrifies him and like jump starts his powers, she had to know there's at least a 45% chance she was just going to kill her dad, right? I mean, she didn't know that was going to work, did she?
I would like to think that she did, but who knows?
And then Lala, man, we talked about how awesome it was that they resurrected him, and then they killed him again in the finale.
I don't understand what the show's problem is.
He had a bomb in his stomach.
You can't. It's Berlanti. He made like honestly, that's where you like. You know, it sounds like that's kind of a recurring theme here, but when it is, man. You know what I mean?
And I can't wait till episode 1. Episode 1 of season 2 is going to start off inside of that whatever that weird, very poorly designed set of a secret hidden place is. I don't know what you call that, interrogation chamber. I mean, it seriously looked like the bad seasons of Doctor Who quality.
Well, you know what it is? You know what that is that set was built behind sets that they already had built. It's in the same space. It's just that, hey, we'll just throw a couple of lights up here and we can call that the interrogation room.
Well, they're going to start off just with like the camera sort of, it's pulled back for a wide angle view, and then it's going to kind of push in until it gets a little closer and closer on the rubble. And then we're going to see like some shaking in the rubble, and then a hand is going to come out from it. And Lala's going to stand up, hold his stomach and with one hand and his head with the other and go, wow, that hurts. All right, I got to go find Tobias. And like no questions answered about how a bomb went off in his belly and he survived.
Everything is it's gonna be like the Flintstones, where every time he dies, he's just gonna wake back up and go, "It's a living," and then he just moves on, I guess.
Man, if they bring the Great Gazoo in season 2, it'll be awesome.
Hello, Dub Dub.
I told you I don't want you around here anymore. I'll say this. I heard a long interview with the guy that plays Tobias. I'd never really heard him before. I knew he was like a rapper. He was had a long, like 30-minute interview on the Breakfast Club on their YouTube thing. What an interesting, nice guy. Like, it's one of those things where you always see these heavies and stuff, and they seem like really scary dudes, and then when you meet him in person, lovely. He's another one of those guys where it's just like super humble and very nice, and like you'd think he'd be scary, because on the show he's plenty scary.
And I got to tell you, I got a nice little laugh when he punched Lala, and Lala just like flew through the air like something you would expect to see in an Ace Ventura movie or something rather than a superhero movie. But it was great when he punched Lala, and he just flew through the air cartoonishly.
High flying action. That's what they always say. And who amongst us, if we had lightning powers, wouldn't shock our ladies when having some fun times? What in the world's going on over there? Time. Holy cow! What? And this couldn't have been the first time that went on, because she would have had some sort of reaction other than like just going with the flow. So is this a common practice in the Lightning household? Just kind of.
I think it is, man. I think it is.
I guess so.
It beats the old pull my finger that most households have.
Do you save it for wedding anniversaries or special occasions or something, or is it just like a hey, what gives? No lightning going on.
I got to tell you, if I had Black Lightning's powers, my superhero name would be Joy Buzzer.
Gotcha, fool. I don't know. Anything else that we kind of want to touch on?
I don't think so, man. I mean, Cyanide. The strange like woman who fought against Thunder in the classroom there in the penultimate episode. I never quite understood what they were trying to do with her or where they were going with her. It's like at some points, I felt like maybe she was going to have a character arc, and at other times I got it. She's just kind of like the tough guy, his muscle on the side. But I kept wanting her to have sort of an arc similar to Gazelle from Kingsman or something, but it just seemed like it went nowhere.
Beats me. I barely remember that. Like I said, things all started to go together, and with like we said, tons of interrogation time and all this other stuff. Every now and then you're just going like, can we move this along, please?
And I did not expect James Remar to live through the season, and I was wrong on that.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Everybody was like, James Remar's on the outs, and then nope, still living. But he's got the beginning. He's got like the pilot or the premiere season 2 to die. I'm pretty sure they. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, they greenlit it for a second season already. I could be wrong.
I'm sure they have.
Anywho, before we get down to rating this thing, do we want to do? I got an email. I'm going to save that for next week, actually. Sorry about the email. I'd forgotten at the top of the show. We will read that next week. But we do need to do one important thing on this program, and that's find out how this series relates to one Sylvester Stallone.
Well, this one is very difficult, so it was short. So I apologize for how short it is. The only person on this show who has ever worked with Sylvester Stallone is James Remar. And we did that with the first couple of episodes, the last episode of HMP we did. So here we go. Thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement. Did you know that Black Lightning is shot in Atlanta, Georgia? It's true. Atlanta, if you might remember, was burned to the ground by General William Sherman. Then some time went by. And now Atlanta is probably best known as a thriving mecca for people who love traffic and traffic jams. Sylvester Stallone has been to Atlanta several times in his career for Creed, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the movie where he and Arnold Schwarzenegger have to come up with an escape plan to get out of prison, but I can't remember the name of it, and I didn't bother looking it up. Stallone was seen at the Fine Art Museum in Atlanta and even went so far as to go onto Twitter and call one of the art installations interesting. In an article about Stallone's visit, the reporter seems completely dumbfounded by the fact that Stallone himself does some painting on the side. The reporter uses the phrase, "Who knew? Rocky paints in his spare time." That is some rock-solid reporting. That's the connection. It's short, but it is a connection. This week's Stallone connection is the city of Atlanta. Now, Commodore and not Commodore, let's review the first season of Black Lightning.
All right. Very good. And here on Hero Movie Podcast, we don't do stars, we don't do letters. We have our own little magical system. It's called the Robin rating system. And if you'd like to find out what that looks like, head on over to facebook.com/Hero Movie Podcast. Put a like up on that page and, enjoy the memes and all the other crap that I put on the show page from, day to day. Bruce, where does season 1 of Black Lightning fall on the Robin rating system for you, sir?
I really started off kind of hot on this. I really enjoyed the first episode a lot. And then I was still having fun with the next couple of episodes. But by the time the end got here, I wasn't all that excited about it. And in fact, that's kind of been a theme for most of the shows on the CW this season. I've not been as excited for most of them as I used to be. So I'm going to kind of take a safe out here. I'm just going to call this a Damian Wayne. It's not that bad. It's not that good. I'm sure it serves certain audiences better than others and that sort of thing. I just, after the first episode, I thought I was getting a solid Tim Drake show, and it dropped down a little bit by the end. So I'm just going to play it safe and say Damian Wayne. Not too good, not too bad, just right down the middle.
I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna do myself because I could only echo the exact same thing, Bruce. It started off hot, kind of went cold, and like I said, it went on a roller coaster for me. The first 5 I kind of dug. The next 3 were like, nah, but then it kind of got better towards the end. But the ultimate problem of the show is I don't know where, and I don't know that they know this, of where they want to go, what they want to do, and how they're going to do it, and that may be a giant problem. As we know. Per one Sean Keenan, who was in the area at the time, this show started off, and then they decided to scrap a whole bunch of it and then kind of start anew. So they were kind of, coming back in a little bit of an uphill battle. So maybe that'll be ironed out. Maybe they'll have a little bit more time for planning and seasoning in season 2. We shall see. So I'm going right there in the middle as well, Damien. Sean?
I hate the show.
Yeah.
I hate everything about the show. His costume is ridiculous and stupid. The only thing that's cool about the show is Lala. What's the character? White Whale. Condon.
Tobias Whale. Tobias Whale. Yeah.
Tobias Whale. He's great, and I really do like the actor who plays Black Lightning, and I like the soundtrack. But literally everything else about the show, I cannot stand. I think it's terrible. I think it is embarrassing. I think that it is just another runoff of Berlanti's shows. I think that this show now is at the same level of like season 4 of Green Arrow. That was 4 seasons in, and it got that bad. This show is already at season 4 level of Green Arrow. There is so much about the show that I cannot stand about it. Like it is a middling, like just completely lame duck attempt at trying to do something that's very cool. You know, they are kind of trying. Well, they're not kind of. They are saying something about the culture around them with the show, but it's done so poorly and ham-fisted that I can't help but roll my eyes every time they try to bring some sort of social change into the show. So I have got to give it a Jason Todd. I cannot stand the show.
Fair enough.
Wow.
I will say this. He mentioned music, though. That's another thing that kind of did bug me a whole lot was, like, certain scenes where they had, like, just a regular soundtrack underscore for everything. Some of it I liked. Some of it I actually hated and thought, like, was distracting to the fight scenes and stuff. It's just like...
Oh, for sure.
It's so bizarre and weird. I'm just like, are we watching a music video here? I was like, just give me regular score. And it feels like they just didn't have time to write it or something and just kind of threw in some needle drop stuff. And it never really worked perfectly. Some worked better than others, but most of it was just kind of like, couldn't we just have some score here or something? I don't know. It seems a little weird. I will say this, though. Josh on the Facebook, he did mention, he goes, there's no way Sean finished that, and he certainly did, so don't worry.
I did.
But that's it, everybody. So, Black Lightning is available on Netflix right now if you haven't caught up, so it is there to you right now. And, man, CW got that out fast, man. They did the season finale, and then, boom, like right on Netflix the next day or so. I don't know.
Which I like. They should do more of that.
They really should, and I think they may be going down that avenue, so keep an eye out, everybody. All right, that is it. Now, like I said, we'd like to thank everybody who helped support this show this month at patreon.com/HMP. And because you are one of the loyal Patreon supporters of this program at any level, you are going to be able to vote on the movie that we watch next week. I don't have all the choices in my head right now, but if you go to patreon.com/HMP. And,
I've got one if you need more.
All right, let's do it. What do you got, Keenan? Let me write it down.
The Constantine TV show.
Didn't we do that?
I don't think we did.
I think we might have done the pilot.
You're right. I think we may have done that. All right, so all right, we'll check out that Constantine, not the Constantine that we that was in the book, but the real one. So we'll do the Constantine will be one, Batman Ninja will be another. What do you think, guys? Anything else?
Yeah, man. How about the animated All-Star Superman?
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And one more. We're doing it
the
live.
Surrogates. You can throw the Surrogates on.
We're throwing the Surrogates back up there because that it always gets some votes. People kind of want to do it. All right, so Surrogates, that'll be
Bruce, why are you champing at the bit to watch that terrible movie?
Because I want to see how much Bruce Willis sits down in it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that would be a interesting choice right there. All right, so Constantine,
based on a comic by Robert Venditti, who I've met a couple times. He's a cool guy. I'd like to cover.
Oh, so you know what that means, Sean? He just wants to name drop. We just figured it out, everybody. Bruce wants to start name dropping.
Who can blame him?
Who can blame him, though? So we'll have those up there. Patreon.com/HMP. Let your voice known. In the meantime, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet, sir?
All my books are still available on Amazon. Go to Amazon.com and look for Dragon in the Needles. You can look for Nerd Spawn Genesis. Look for Chubby Wizard, Wrath of the Manticore. Still waiting to get the green light on a big announcement for another little project that I can't wait to tell the world about. And I'm going to try real hard to crank out another episode of Heroes and Villains soon. I was trying to just quietly sneak off into the sunset on Heroes and Villains, but I just keep getting more and more questions. Even they've gone to the Hero Movie Podcast Facebook page now, asking, when is Bruce going to do another Heroes and Villains? So I'm going to work on trying my best to get one out within the next week.
They're
Man,
all just,
you are a busy dude.
They got him over a barrel. They're just like, Bruce, where are you at? They're like just screaming into the maw.
It's
of
like
darkness.
when the bank starts calling your mother-in-law and saying you're behind on your payments. At that point, you got to make the payment.
By the way, when can we expect to think they don't live here? Go away. And Keenan, if we wanted to find you under some magical rock, where would we go?
Dogeatpod.com, and you can go to my Twitter at Hero Movie Sean. I'm never on there, but you can see what I look like.
Do yourself a favor. And, of course, the Film Find at filmfind.com. I'm going to go see a whole bunch of movies over the next 2 days, so you guys are going to have some good stuff over there. Check it out, everybody. That is it. So join us next week when we talk about whatever you guys decide at patreon.com/HMP. Until then, for Bruce Leslie, Sean Keenan, I'm Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
Goodbye, Marty and Evie. Goodbye, Commodore. Goodbye, Mr. Incel.
All right, so we will put that stuff together, and I'll go through and just kind of try to refine the calendar for us and everything.